Today's question: what kind of real estate investment is right for me? What's the best thing I can do if I'm either a very experienced real estate investor or maybe I'm just a beginner? And so it comes down to a series of questions you need to constantly ask yourself. If you are a brand new investor, and let's say you're in your early to mid 20s, or maybe even in your early to mid 50s, and you're just starting out, you need to ask yourself, does a property need to be close? Does the property need to be under a certain price point? Does the property need to be in a specific sector, such as mobile home parks, or maybe it's your first fix and flip, or you need nothing smaller than 200 units? Or maybe you're a very experienced investor and you can't do anything lower than a $20 million deal. And so that's a tower complex in downtown Wichita, Kansas. You need to really learn how to evaluate where it is in your life, in your business, and where you are with your capital and your experience, and how do you go through that process of really self-evaluating where you are and where do you want to go. So let's jump into a series of questions that we can ask to help determine. Now, some of these might be right for you, these questions, to help you figure it out. Some of them may not be right because they're just in a different timeline of where your career is. So let's jump into what sector of real estate investing you want to focus on. Maybe you've gone to a seminar, or you've got a course online, and you've determined that you want to buy mobile home parks or self-storage units because the cash flow, monthly income, seems attractive to you. And income is an important part of what you need to build in your portfolio. So you want to focus solely on those types of projects. Some people don't have a lot of time, so they want a passive investment. Are you a passive investor? Are you an active investor? Are you kind of somewhere in the middle? Somewhat active, somewhat passive? So those are some questions. Maybe you have bought and sold tons of properties over the last 20 years, and you've really narrowed down what you like and what geographical region you're in. Not just in your city, but you want to narrow it down to your region. Maybe you want to take the Southeast United States. Maybe you want to take the West. It depends on where you are and what's most attractive. Some people jump around from region to region. Some people jump around from neighborhood to neighborhood. You need to figure out what geographically desirable means to you. So the way I would do that is I would say, what's geographically desirable to me? And it's going to be different for you. I have my criteria. I've got my list, and I've gone through what is most important. And I want to make sure that I have a park that's large enough, a mobile home park, for instance, that's large enough to generate income, that is not too big so that I can afford to get into the game. And also, I want to know that I've got plenty of upside so that in 2 to 5 years, we can either refinance or sell the park, take that capital, buy another probable mobile home park, or maybe self-storage, or maybe it's an apartment building at that time. We have to determine that in the future, but we see where we're going. So are you in an early phase of your life, middle phase, or a late phase? Do you want to be an active investor or a passive investor, or maybe some kind of combination of both? Or do you want to have full-on, full-time, you're going to buy 20 fix and flips every year, or maybe 50 fix and flips every year, and this is your entire thing? Maybe I like to use the idea of a surgeon who has a lot of extra cash, but zero extra time. And maybe you're somewhere in the middle. Maybe you got some extra cash and some extra time. And so you can participate as both an active and a passive investor on some and some others. Is income a critical need, or is growth a critical need? Or is some sort of a balance between the two the real best approach for you? And you're going to have to determine that. Maybe you say, I want to have 10% of my portfolio as growth and 90% is income. And how do you figure that out? Is most of your portfolio with your own cash? Or are you bringing investors in? Are you syndicating the deal? Are you working with family offices and hedge funds to bring your capital in your capital stack? It really depends on where you are. So you need to ask and evaluate over and over and over and refine your list. Who am I as a real estate investor? Not only today, but where can I grow this to? Because you're gonna have 5 years down the road, you're gonna wanna take a property and sell it and do something with that capital. You don't just, I'm imagining, you don't just wanna spend it down. You wanna take it and reinvest it. So maybe you wanna position yourself to do a 1031 exchange. So you buy 3 mobile home parks, fix them up, and get ready to sell them or refinance them, take that capital and do it again. Maybe you don't buy into a mobile home park. It depends on where you are. Maybe you take that capital and you invest it passively into somebody else's deal who is now the general partner. It depends on what you want. As always, my answer is it depends. And so I think you need to ask yourself a series of questions that simply say, where am I today? What's most important? Income, geographical diversity, partners, passive, active, and narrow these things down. And that way you're going to find out what is the best real estate investment for you.